And I think what's happened now is country music has just become what it has to become, because the country now is not just the country anymore.
Eddie Rabbitt, the country music legend, captured hearts with his soulful voice and unforgettable hits. But behind the fame and success, his life was marked by heartbreak and struggle. Tragically, his story came to an untimely end, leaving fans mourning. What led to such a heartbreaking conclusion? Join us as we unravel the mysterious cause of Eddie Rabbitt's tragic ending. Though Eddie Rabbitt's life may have been tragically short-lived, his music will forever echo through the hearts of his fans, proving that even in death, a true artist's voice can never be silenced. Eddie Rabbitt's unique musical legacy.
One that I'm really proud of is the Robert J. Burton Award from BMI, which we got for a song called Suspicions.
Eddie Rabbitt created a unique niche in the music business by combining classic country sounds with modern methods and a variety of influences. His approach, which combined rural motifs with catchy beats and blues-influenced speeds, was innovative yet approachable. His music approach prioritized both honoring country music's origins and exploring its limits to create a sound that appealed to country and mainstream listeners. Eddie's distinctive style included utilizing echo effects and overlapping vocals to enhance the complexity of his music. Referred to as the Eddie Rabbitt chorale, this approach enabled him to make up for his voice, which Billboard magazine described as somewhat thin and reedy. Eddie's music stood out because he recorded his songs with three-part harmonies, creating a richer sound. This approach distinguished him from a lot of his peers, becoming a defining characteristic of his personal style. Critics frequently compared Eddie's music to rockabilly, citing his 1980 album Horizon for its resemblance to Elvis Presley's sound. Eddie himself recognized his appreciation for the classic Memphis sounds that originated from Sun Records in the 1950s, and he aimed to recreate that same charm with his live band recordings. His skill in merging old memories with modern creativity produced a sound that was both classic and new. Eddie's music was influenced by a range of different sources. He attributed his creative vision to artists such as Bob Dylan, Steely Dan, Elvis Presley, and Willie Nelson. His diverse sources of inspiration helped him create songs that were both dynamic and versatile. Even though he had a contemporary style, Eddie still held a deep bond to the roots of country music. At one point, he commented that country music was basically Irish music, stating that the minor chords in his songs added a mystical and haunting feel. The blending of cultural and musical components enhanced his art, allowing it to connect on various levels. When Eddie made an album, he stuck to a strict rule. Each track had to have the potential to be a single. He demanded no additions, no unnecessary items. He remembered feeling let down as a kid while listening to albums that had just 2 good songs and a lot of filler. In order to guarantee that his albums offered a consistently excellent listening experience, Eddie concentrated on creating 10 powerful, standout songs for each release. His careful method of writing songs and producing albums highlighted his commitment to his art. During the urban cowboy era of the 1980s, Eddie's music played a major role in shaping the direction of country music. His skill in blending country and pop genres influenced a whole generation of artists and played a role in shaping the evolution of the genre. Harry Sumrall, a critic for the San Jose Mercury News, characterized Eddie's music as uncomplicated and straightforward, embodying all the qualities that define quality country music. He commended Eddie for his talent in crafting songs that were lively and inviting, comparing them to a soothing breeze over fried artichokes, a depiction that accurately portrayed the pleasant appeal of Eddie's music. Even though he achieved great success and his music resonated with many, Eddie never adhered strictly to traditional country music values. He did not hesitate to try out various styles and sounds, even though it occasionally received backlash from traditionalists. Yet it was his willingness to break traditional boundaries that also contributed to the distinctiveness and staying power of his music. Eddie successfully navigated between tradition and modernity in country music, honoring its core while also incorporating fresh perspectives and inspirations. Eddie, a cultural observer, was unafraid to express his views on social matters. In the early 1990s, he raised issues about the increasing popularity of hip-hop music, specifically rap. He thought that the genre was promoting harmful messages to youth, leading to issues like teen pregnancy, students leaving school, and a rise in intimate violence. Eddie's critiques demonstrated his conviction that music should act as a strong motivator for positive behavior rather than encouraging negativity. Although his opinions on hip-hop were contentious and led to discussions, They demonstrated his strong sense of artistic responsibility and his worries about the influence of music on society. Eddie Rabbitt's success was evidence of his innovation, resolve, and passion for music. From his pioneering vocal methods to his dedication to creating top-notch albums, he made a lasting impact on the music business. His unique sound, a blend of country traditions and modern influences, led to a lasting legacy as one of the most innovative and beloved artists in country music. But what was Eddie's life all about? And why was his life tagged to have a tragic ending? Let's find out. But before then, let's take a few steps to the very beginning and take a look at his steady growth into fame. The early life of Eddie Rabbitt.
I was born in Brooklyn.
How did you get country in Brooklyn?
Well, my mom and dad came from Ireland, in 1924.
Eddie Rabbitt was born on November 27, 1941 in Brooklyn, New York, to Irish immigrants Thomas Michael and May Joyce Rabbitt, marking the start of his story.
When I was 6 months old, they moved out of Brooklyn to East Orange, New Jersey. So I don't know a whole lot about Brooklyn except that I was born there.
His family eventually made their home in East Orange, New Jersey, a neighborhood that played a significant role in shaping Eddie's early life. Eddie's father had a job as a refrigeration technician in an oil refinery, but he was also a skilled musician who played the fiddle and accordion. By demonstrating his musical talents in New York City dance halls, he frequently performed and greatly impacted Eddie's life. From a young age, Eddie displayed a talent for music. At the age of 12, he had already become proficient in playing the guitar, thanks to a Boy Scout leader who patiently taught him the skill. These initial teachings were crucial, sparking a lifelong love for music that would ultimately shape Eddie's professional path. As a child, Eddie delved into country music, stating that he had turned into a walking encyclopedia of the genre. Later on, his profound understanding and passion for country music would influence his distinctive approach as both a singer and songwriter. Eddie faced some difficulties during his teenage years. Following his parents' divorce, he found it difficult to stay focused on schoolwork and ended up quitting high school at 16. Eddie's mother, May, stated that his intense love for music took up most of his time and did not leave much space for regular schooling. She elaborated on her son's early fascination with melodies and lyrics, saying his mind was consumed by music. However, Eddie's resolve stayed unwavering despite the setback. Later on, he went back to school and obtained his high school diploma by attending night classes, demonstrating his determination and motivation to better himself. Eddie Rabbitt's beginnings were a mix of cultural background, musical influences, and individual obstacles. His father's impact as a musician and his introduction to country music at a young age set the stage for his successful career in the music industry. With determination and a constant love for music, Eddie transformed a modest start into the opening of a remarkable adventure. From humble beginnings to Nashville dreams. Eddie Rabbitt's journey to success was anything but traditional, showcasing a path marked by perseverance and a relentless passion for music. During the late 1950s, Eddie held a job at a psychiatric facility, yet his love for music never wavered. Motivated by his father's musical skills, Eddie looked for chances to showcase his talent, eventually landing his debut regular gig at the Six Steps Down Club in his hometown. These initial showcases assisted in honing his skills and inspired his ambition to pursue a music career. Eddie's skills quickly gained acknowledgement. He got his lucky break when he emerged victorious in a nearby talent competition, granting him a 1-hour spot on a weekend evening radio program. The show aired a live show from a bar in Paterson, New Jersey, providing Eddie with his first experience of performing in front of a bigger crowd. This moment of visibility was a significant achievement, motivating him to progress further in his professional journey. In the year 1964, Eddie agreed to his first recording deal with 20th Century Records. He put out singles like Next to the Note and 6 Nights and 7 Days under this title. Even though these initial songs did not push him into the limelight, they provided him with important experience and strengthened his determination to succeed in the music industry. After 4 years, Eddie, with only $1,000, bravely chose to relocate to Nashville, Tennessee, the center of country music. Nashville provided Eddie with an opportunity to focus his passion on writing songs. The night he arrived in the city, Eddie wrote a song titled Working My Way Up to the Bottom, which was recorded by Roy Drusky in 1968.
Working my way up to the bottom. I had just got to Nashville. I've been driving on a Greyhound bus for 18 hours, literally.
Eddie was reassured by this accomplishment that he had made the correct decision. Nevertheless, it was a challenge to cover expenses in Nashville. During this period, Eddie supported himself by working in different roles, such as being a truck driver, a soda jerk, and a fruit picker. Even with challenges, he stayed dedicated to his goal, utilizing all his free time to write and improve his musical abilities. Eddie's determination led to success when he was employed as a staff writer by Hill and Range Publishing Company. Eddie started composing songs that would build his reputation in the industry, earning a humble salary of $37.50 per week. Throughout this time, he often mingled with fellow aspiring songwriters at Wally's Clubhouse, a Nashville bar that served as a sanctuary for young artists. Eddie later explained that this period was marked by camaraderie and shared aspirations, mentioning that he and the other writers had no other option but to gather at Wally's. Eddie Rabbitt's early success can be attributed to his dedication and perseverance. Starting with small club performances and continuing with songwriting in Nashville, Eddie's early experiences influenced his artistic development and readied him for the fame that lay ahead in the future. However, this was just the beginning for Eddie Rabbitt, who had a spot to fill at Stardom. What exactly catapulted him there? Eddie Rabbitt's big break.
Well, it's all kind of tied together. I write the songs, then I record them, and I go out and perform them. So I love the whole thing of it.
Eddie Rabbitt's breakthrough as a songwriter happened in 1969 when his song, Kentucky Rain, gained the interest of none other than Elvis Presley. The song achieved huge success, receiving gold certification and solidifying Eddie's position as one of the most promising young songwriters in Nashville. Elvis cut 2 more songs penned by Eddie, Patch It Up, showcased in the concert movie Elvis, That's the Way It Is, and Inherit the Wind, part of the album Elvis Back in Memphis. These partnerships not just earned Eddie acclaim, they also established his reputation as a revered songwriter. While having a bowl of Cap'n Crunch cereal, Eddie wrote a heartfelt song called Pure Love, which went on to be a big hit for Ronnie Milsap in 1974. In 1975, this song soared to the top of the music charts and paved the way for a record contract with Elektra Records. Eddie's first song with Elektra, titled You Get to Me, made it to the top 40 in its debut year. He continued his success with Forgive and Forget and I Should Have Married You, both coming close to the top 10. His self-titled debut album featured these songs, as well as his rendition of Pure Love. In 1976, Eddie debuted Rocky Mountain Music, a well-received album featuring his first #1 country single, Drinkin' My Baby, Off My Mind. His subsequent record, Rabbitt, was launched in 1977 and achieved high rankings on the country album charts, making it a top 5 hit. During that year, Eddie received the title of Top New Male Vocalist of the Year from the Academy of Country Music, solidifying his status as a promising young talent. Eddie's career took off as he traveled with well-known musicians such as Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, performing as their opening act multiple times. In 1978, he put out his first collection album, The Best of Eddie Rabbitt, featuring the popular song Every Which Way But Loose. This song, which was included in the soundtrack of Clint Eastwood's film with the same title, achieved success by reaching the #1 spot on the country charts and also making it to the top 30 on the Billboard Hot 100 and Adult Contemporary charts. Its record-breaking debut at number 18 on the charts would remain unmatched for years to come. Eddie's talent for combining country and pop genres was evident in Suspicious, a song from his album Loveline released in 1979. The song reached the top spot on the country charts and also made its way onto the Billboard Hot 100 and Adult Contemporary charts, further establishing Eddie's position in popular music. In 1980, Eddie was at the height of his success, presenting his NBC TV show and being likened to a youthful Elvis Presley. The 1980 launch of Horizon led to Eddie's most successful songs crossing over, I Love a Rainy Night and Drivin My Life Away. The first one, sparked by a piece of writing he created during a thunderstorm in the 1960s, turned into a well-known song. He, reflecting on his time as a truck driver, paid tribute to Bob Dylan's Subterranean Homesick Blues. Both songs made it to the top of the charts, with Horizon obtaining platinum certification. Eddie's winning streak carried on with the album Step by Step in 1981, generating 3 top 10 singles, including the title track that achieved success on country, pop, and adult contemporary charts. The album achieved gold status, making it Eddie's final record to do so. His duet with Crystal Gayle on the song You and I, featured on his album Radio Romance from 1982, was a huge success, topping the country charts and also making it onto the Billboard Hot 100 and Adult Contemporary Top 10. Challenges and career decline. Eddie Rabbitt had a successful career in the early 1980s, establishing himself as a country music legend. Eddie's music, which combined traditional country elements with pop influences, gained popularity among a diverse range of listeners and turned him into a crossover sensation. Yet, with the passage of the decade, his musical approach started to change, acting as a pivotal moment in both his professional journey and personal existence. In 1984, Eddie dropped The Best Year of My Life, an album that highlighted his talent for crafting emotional and relatable songs. The album contained 4 of the top 10 country hits, including the title track, which made it to #1 on the country charts. Even with this achievement, the album did not manage to recreate the popular appeal in different audiences that had previously made Eddie more widely known. Although his music was still popular among country fans, his popularity in the pop music scene started to decline, indicating a change in his musical direction. The professional changes and personal tragedy for Eddie came during the mid-1980s. His son Timmy, who was young, had a rare liver condition called biliary atresia, and sadly, it led to his death. This significant loss had a deep impact on Eddie, leading him to temporarily step away from his music profession to mourn and prioritize his family. During this period, he reevaluated his priorities and withdrew from the spotlight, a choice that emphasized his strong affection for his family. Rabbitt Tracks was released by Eddie in 1985 through RCA Records. The album featured a duet with Juice Newton called Both to Each Other, Friends and Lovers, which made it to the top spot on the country charts. The song's triumph briefly revived Eddie's career, but Rabbitt Tracks signaled the conclusion of his string of chart-topping hits. Even though his dedicated fans loved the album, it did not receive as much acclaim or commercial success as anticipated. In 1988, Eddie had a resurgence in his career with the album I Wanna Dance With You, which brought him back to the top of the country music charts. His energetic rendition of Dion's The Wanderer also reached the top spot, along with the title track. Critics had varying opinions on the album, but Eddie's talent for creating captivating and unforgettable songs was clear. The album also generated We Must Be Doin' Something Right, a top 10 hit, and American Boy, a patriotic anthem that connected with audiences during the Gulf War. American Boy received more recognition when it was featured in Bob Dole's 1996 presidential campaign, showcasing Eddie's lasting impact on American society. Nevertheless, Eddie's commercial success showed signs of decline as his album's last single, That's Why I Fell in Love with You, only reached number 66 on the charts. In the early 1990s, Eddie, just like many others of his generation, encountered the obstacles of a shifting country music environment. The style was changing, with emerging artists now reigning on the charts. Eddie's 10 Rounds album from 1991 resulted in the release of Hang Up the Phone, marking the last single of his career to chart. Although the album demonstrated Eddie's skills and commitment to his art, it did not have a substantial influence. After it was released, Eddie left Capitol Records, marking the conclusion of a chapter in his career. Following his departure from Capitol Records, Eddie devoted his attention to touring with Hair Trigger, entertaining his dedicated fans who remained loyal to him. He stayed engaged with his audience by performing live and delivering emotional versions of his well-known songs. Despite a decline in his chart performance, Eddie continued to be highly regarded by the country music community for his impact on the genre. In the year 1997, Eddie decided to join Intersound Records in the hopes of rejuvenating his recording career. Nevertheless, his intentions were disrupted by a lung cancer diagnosis. In spite of receiving this life-changing news, Eddie showed exceptional bravery and perseverance. Despite undergoing chemotherapy, he continued to work on new music, showcasing his resilience and dedication to his art. In the same year, Eddie put out Beatin' the Odds, showcasing his unyielding determination. The title mirrored his resolve to continue despite challenges. Although the album did not have notable commercial success, it deeply resonated with fans who appreciated Eddie's fortitude and dedication. In 1998, Eddie dropped his last studio album, Songs from Rabbitland. This album signaled the peaceful end of a successful career that had lasted for many years. Despite his declining health, Eddie kept showcasing his music to the world, creating a lasting legacy of strength, innovation, and emotional storytelling. Eddie Rabbitt's personal life. Eddie Rabbitt, the legendary country music singer and songwriter, experienced a life rich in passion, creativity, and strong personal relationships. Even though his music showcased his talent and creativity, his personal life demonstrated his devotion to family, animals, and his desire to set a good example. From the beginning of his time in Nashville to his sudden passing, Eddie's path was marked by commitment and perseverance, encompassing happiness, sorrow, and a lasting determination. Eddie Rabbitt came to Nashville in the late 1960s, ready to establish himself in the music industry. In the beginning of his time in the city, a friend presented him with a pet chicken. Despite its rarity, Eddie welcomed the eccentric new addition to his life, caring for the bird until he eventually decided to give it to a farmer. His affection for animals also encompassed other pets, such as a monkey named Jojo that he kept in the early 1970s. Jojo turned out to be quite a handful. Prior to starting his Rocky Mountain music tour, the monkey attacked Eddie, resulting in his right arm being bandaged. Although faced with difficulties, Eddie's love for animals was unmistakable, highlighting his kind and nurturing personality. In 1976, Eddie tied the knot with Janine Girardi, the woman he loved the most. Eddie portrayed Janine as a petite woman standing at 5 feet tall, with lovely long black hair and an attractive face. Their romantic connection inspired Eddie to write songs dedicated to her like Pure Love and Sweet Janine. The couple had a deep connection and, as a team, they established a caring family. Their offspring included Demelza, Timmy, and Tommy, totaling 3 children. Nevertheless, they faced difficulties along their path to becoming parents. Their second child, Timmy, came into the world with biliary atresia, an uncommon and serious liver disorder. Timmy had to undergo a liver transplant in 1985 because of his medical condition. Sadly, the operation was not successful, and Timmy died soon after. Eddie and Janine were devastated by the loss. Eddie took a break from his music career while mourning the loss of his son. Thinking back on his choice, Eddie expressed, "I did not want to leave the music industry, but my current location was more significant." During a time of sadness, the Rabbitts found comfort in the arrival of their third child, Tommy, in 1986. Eddie frequently discussed his responsibilities as a father and emphasized the significance of being a positive role model. He remained devoted to his family, managing both his job and household duties to raise his children in a loving and supportive environment. Eddie Rabbitt was not just a skilled musician, but also a caring supporter of charitable endeavors. He utilized his influence to back multiple organizations such as the Special Olympics, Easter Seals, and the American Council on Transplantation, where he held the position of honorary chairman. Eddie was an advocate for the Muscular Dystrophy Association and United Cerebral Palsy, speaking out to increase awareness and backing for these organizations. He believed in utilizing his success to have a positive impact on the lives of others, which was evident in his dedication to giving back. Eddie Rabbitt was a man who stood by his beliefs and values. A member of the Republican Party, he permitted Bob Dole to use his song "American Boy" for Dole's 1996 presidential campaign. The national anthem struck a chord with Eddie's patriotism and his wish to foster togetherness and honor. In addition to his political connections, Eddie also enjoyed pop culture. He especially loved Star Trek, The Next Generation, and even went to the set during the 5th season of the show in 1991 to 1992. Eddie's lighter side showed his interest and passion for things other than music. Despite having a good relationship and status in the society, Eddie's life was tragically cut short by a devastating illness. Illness and tragic end. Eddie Rabbitt was found to have lung cancer in March 1997. Even after receiving radiation therapy and undergoing surgery to remove a section of one lung, the illness continued to advance. Eddie stayed hopeful and upbeat, despite encountering the biggest challenge of his life. During this period, friends and colleagues noted his positive and cheerful attitude, showcasing his resilience and inner strength. Eddie Rabbitt died at the age of 56 in Nashville on May 7, 1998. Many were surprised to hear about his death because no media had announced it until after he was buried at his family's behest. His burial took place at Calvary Cemetery in Nashville on May 8, 1998. The discovery of Eddie's true birth year, 1941, upon his death, contradicted the common belief that he was born in 1944, revealing a hidden detail in historical documents. Although Eddie Rabbitt's death symbolized the conclusion of a period, his influence endures thanks to his music and the people he impacted. His skill in merging country roots with contemporary elements produced a distinct sound that resonated with fans from different age groups. In addition to his musical accomplishments, Eddie is also known as a loving man who valued his family, appreciated his fans, and supported his community. Eddie's life illustrates the strength of resilience, love, and creativity. From his eccentric moments with a pet chicken and a playful monkey to his significant impact on music and philanthropy, Eddie Rabbitt made a lasting impression on the world. Even though he passed away prematurely, his music and enthusiasm still serve as sources of inspiration and happiness for numerous fans worldwide. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.